Hello and welcome back to Newfoundland and Labrador Studies 2205. This is Unit 3, The Country Grows, Section 3, Lesson 6, Video 2, on the LSPU and the FPU. Firstly, you may be wondering what those abbreviations mean. Well, the LSPU is the Longshoremen's Protective Union. With its formation in 1904, the Longshoremen's Protective Union became one of the longest and most successful unions in Newfoundland. They represented the interests of dock workers in St. John's. They were initially created by steamboat labourers and some of the most skilled workers on the waterfront. They were responsible for loading and unloading cargo that passed through St. John's every day. They had the ability to delay the transfer of cargo, to protest wages or working conditions, and held 25 strikes from 1890 to 1903 to their official formation. Some sites say 1903, some say 1904. Dock workers were often casual workers, employed by the hour or the day. And employment was sporadic as it was tied to the arrival and departure of vessels. So wage schedules were also inconsistent from year to year or from varying merchant companies. The wage increases they achieved were often clawed back until the formal organization of the LSPU. Now let's talk about strike risks. Participating in a strike could be very risky. Strikers could be replaced by crews of fishing schooners and other transient workers. If a strike was unsuccessful, workers risked being dismissed and blacklisted. Many dock workers were hesitant to strike before the Longshoremen's Protective Union. The LSPU formed to protest the low wages compared to labourers in Halifax. The Longshoremen's Protective Union secured a standardized wage schedule from merchant companies, a 20-cent raise, and gained recognition from the merchants as a formal labor organization. By 1914, there were 2,600 members. And over time, the LSPU monopolized labor along the waterfront. They distributed badges to identify union members versus transient workers. They created a juvenile branch in 1913 and organized a night school for boy laborers, as child labor was common at the time. Now let's talk about the Fishermen's Protective Union, or FPU. The Fishermen's Protective Union was formed in 1908 by William Coker. There was a unique surplus of fish in global markets due to large catches at the time, which caused merchants to undercut each other's prices. In the midst of this, Coker saw an opportunity to organize fishers and help get a fairer deal for those living in Outport, Newfoundland and Labrador. Coker felt that fishers needed and deserved some control over the interests in the fishing industry, as they played such an integral part in that industry. Coker felt the union could promote the commercial welfare of the fishers by securing the highest price for their fish and the lowest price for their supplies. The framework was based on the Loyal Orange Association, but its thinking combined elements from capitalism, socialism, economic cooperation, and trade unionism. The union grew to approximately 20,000 members in 1914. This stretched from Conception Bay all the way to the northern district of St. Barb on the northern peninsula. Local councils elected their own executives and sent delegates to the governing body to elect executive officers. The FPU entered into several business ventures, including a trading company which imported goods and sold them to FPU members at cost. There were over 40 locations, a light and power company, publishing, shipbuilding and shipping, and cold storage companies. William Coker also started a newspaper called the Fisherman's Advocate in 1910. The headquarters where it was published is depicted on the last slide. This was created to keep members informed of union activities, economic news, and relevant government news. In 1914, Coker established the town of Port Union to serve as union headquarters. He also founded the Fishermen's Union Party and released the Bona Vista Platform in 1912. The platform had a set of political objectives intended to benefit members. William Coker and 7 other members were elected to the House of Assembly in 1913. Coker remained in government until 1924 in various MHA positions as a member of the Coalition Cabinet and as Minister of Marine and Fisheries. His credibility was questioned, though, when he supported conscription in 1918, which was very unpopular amongst Union members at the time. We will learn more about this issue in our lesson on the First World War. Coker became involved with the scandal-ridden Squires administration and became MHA for Bonavista Vista East in 1928, but then retired from politics in 1932. The Union survived into the Smallwood era and folded in 1960. So now it's time to review. That was a lot of information for you. So please complete the activities in Brightspace, and I hope you have a great day.